and welcome. You're now listening to the podcast SciCo with Will from China and Jamie.
Anyway, so going back to friendships, I was watching a Russell Brand podcast, and he was talking about friendships versus relationships.
Yeah.
We've already spoken about that, haven't we? Forced relationships. We've spoken about all that.
We spoke about forced relationships. Yeah.
That came from me talking about. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So bringing it back to that podcast, he was saying in it that, you know, there's a couple of advantages of friendships over relationships. Number one, they need not be exclusive, right? Meaning you can have lots of different friendships with lots of different people. They can be however sort of friendships you want them to be. Whereas in a relationship...
So by that you mean you don't need to expose everything?
No, that was actually a second thing.
Okay.
But
sorry, yeah.
No. I'll get there in a second. So what he was saying is, like, in a relationship, it has to be exclusive, right? That's what a relationship is.
Oh, right, yeah.
But with a friendship, you don't have to just see one friend all the time. You can see many friends.
Yes,
Makes sense?
Yeah, I'm with you now. Sorry, yeah, I'm with you.
And the second thing that he said was that friendships, a lot of the time, they're free of judgment. Good friendships, anyway.
Yeah.
So you're free to do or say whatever you want with that person because you know that they're not going to use that against you. Whereas in relationships, sometimes you have this obligation. You feel like you have this obligation to...
Well, it's putting the walls up, is what you're trying to say, you, essentially. In, like, there's certain places that you can't go with things.
Yeah.
And you can't say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Or things you shouldn't say, or you have this obligation to feel like you have to keep up appearances and therefore don't truly speak what you think because you're worried that it may affect your relationship, right?
Yeah.
Which is actually, I thought, was a really interesting thought because if I think about it, I have a couple of friends that have like completely free, censorship-free relationships in the sense that I'll tell them everything, they'll tell me everything, and I can really have a deep emotional conversation with them.
Yeah.
Right? And then there's other friends that I just wouldn't do that with.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's the extent of our conversation is, you know, how are you? Things are good. Things are always good. Nothing is ever bad.
Yeah.
I know there's things that are not good. He knows there's things that are not good, but we don't really talk about it on that level.
Yeah. So, from what you said about the relationship side of being like that, like it depends what you're looking for. If you're looking for someone that's gonna go along with the good times and stuff like that, and for me a relationship should be the opposite, so that where it's that friendship where you talk about whatever all the time. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's just how it is, because that's just what's going on in your life. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's about finding the crossover where it's not to the point of everything's just good all the time.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I think that is very important with the people that I really want to spend my time with, which sort of takes me somewhere else. But the people that I really want to spend my time with are people that I can actually have a proper conversation with. Like, I feel like they can advise me in the right ways when I bring them with something, and I feel like we can have a mature conversation, and that's what I find attractive in not only women, but like in my friendships that I have. Like my best friends now are people that I have uncensored relationships with. We talk about stuff, and we can have a laugh, or we can
be serious.
And I think that's an important thing.
I'm serious.
No way!
What the fuck?
No way did that just happen. Was that mine or yours?
That was mine.
Jesus.
What the
That shit me up, you know.
I was like, what is going on? Fucking hell. But yeah, so there's people that know the difference between when it's a serious conversation and when you're just chilling and having fun.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah, so bring that back to relationships and stuff. And sometimes in relationships, especially in the early stages, that doesn't really happen.
Yeah.
Because you're sort of feeling each other out. You're worried about what they think about you. And
Yeah.
this, so I think that ultimately you get to a point where you feel comfortable enough to do that. And that's where, in my mind, your relationship like really starts, and you start to find out whether this relationship is really going to work. Anyway, Russell Brand goes on to say that the other thing that's very easy to happen when you're in a relationship is you negate all of the other friendships that are going on.
Yeah.
And I found myself very guilty of this, in the sense of the fact that, you know, I get into a relationship with someone and I'm like, oh shit, I want to spend all my time with this person.
Yeah.
And then I start spending less time with my friends and more time with this other person, which is actually, when you think about it, quite backwards.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the time, friendships are going to last a lot longer than relationships, normally.
Yeah.
You know, obviously some people get married, stay together for ages and ages and ages, whatever. So you'd think that you would put your friendships at the top of your list with your family before you put relationships.
Yeah.
But for some reason, and it doesn't happen with everyone, but for some reason we have this switch that sort of goes on, and we almost have this obsession with this one person.
Yeah.
And some people aren't like that. Like Russell Brand was saying, his wife is able to be in a long-term committed relationship but still have a group of great friends around her and constantly see them, and it not be like an intense thing. Do you know what I mean?
What, as in when she's with her other friends?
Like she's able to...
Or when she
was able to distinguish that she needed to see her friends as well as see him as much as she can. Yeah. So she's able to live that like life. And what he was saying is he struggles with that. You know, he doesn't really have many good long-term friends. He has a couple from when he was 17 or 18, which is similar to me. I have a couple from when I was younger, but not loads.
Yeah.
But she's able to just pick up a group of friends and sort of have them around her all the time, and things be a little bit different.
Yeah, well, I think it's just some people are really committed to their friends, aren't they?
Yeah. And that's what I was sort of saying, like, it's weird how our priorities change and we forget that actually our friends should be quite high up there on that list.
Yeah, of course, yeah. But it's like sometimes you are selfish in what you choose by that. Like that can be perceived as being selfish, and like when you are trying to pursue a relationship per se, like and you go and spend all of your time on one side, your friends will perceive that as a bit selfish from you.
Yeah.
But it's also there's good friends that support that as well, like you doing what's best for you.
Yeah.
And friends that support you in going for something, like, and they understand when you can't do something because of it, or because that's what you want to do essentially. And there's friends that will, like, it kind of contradicts what we said about being a yes person and stuff like that. But like saying, oh, okay, yeah, go for that, go for it, go do it. Your friends can negate from... Well, I was saying how it contradicts being a yes man, but I'm also trying to say your friends can negate when you're doing what's best for you. Sorry. They can understand that you're doing what's best for you, and understanding that you're doing what you need to do to be happy.
Yeah, well, absolutely.
So,
and I think those are the friends. Then this is why I think he was saying that friendships are so important. Like, those are the kind of people that can understand that you needed to put our like friendship on the back burner to do what's best for you, and ultimately, like, I'm happy because that's what is best for you. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And those are the kind of people that you want. You want people who are going to pull you up when you're wrong, but also are going to be like, okay, I respect the fact that you're doing you at the moment. I can't have your time, so that's okay.
Yeah.